Welcome back to another episode of the 4Q podcast. My name is Sheena Shuey, and today we're going to be talking about the fact that perfectionism is blocking your success. I am guilty of this, and this is why I want to share this with you today. So, as I sip my coffee just now, and allow myself to do this podcast in a way that's good enough. It's getting out to you. You're listening to it. You're going to learn from it. And so I want to share a bit of a backstory of what's been happening. So for those who are listening to this at the time of this recording, you may or may have not noticed, well, you definitely would have noticed if you're a regular follower, that I've not posted for the last 4 or 5 weeks on the podcast. Now, the podcast is a grounding place in my business. So even when I take a week here and there off social media or, I'm not launching, like whatever's not going on in my business, the one thing that always is going is the podcast. It's kind of like that background program that's always running. And it comes out every single week consistently, whether I'm on holidays, whether I'm working, whether I'm not working. So it felt like a big shift when I didn't have enough backup podcasts to come out because I've had a lot going on in my personal life and I had to prioritize certain moves, and unfortunately the podcast wasn't one of them. But I'm going to admit something to you right now. I'm literally sitting on my couch, in my brand new couch, mind you. It is beautiful leather. I am loving it. So I'm feeling very luxurious and bushy right now. But admittedly, it doesn't take much for me to get this podcast out. Some of the episodes we do together, 15, 20 minutes of real gold. I want to tell you how perfectionism got in the way of that. And it's probably getting in the way for you in some way. And I see it with my clients all the time. So what happened was I had a big break. So I'm having a few weeks off because I bought a new phone. So I couldn't log into the Podcasters app that I use for recording because I generally record off my phone or my laptop. But because I've got a new laptop, got a new phone, couldn't log in. First hurdle. Could have easily overcome that, but that was the first hurdle. Then I've been meaning to change this podcast into a video podcast for a while. So you can see me on YouTube and listen on the podcast, right? So I bought myself a microphone and the new camera because for those of you who follow me, my HD camera makes me look golden. Like it is not made for brown people, I swear. Like I look like an Oscar, like I'm like this golden goddess, and I don't mind it, right? But I do look a bit ridiculous and yellow sometimes. Anyway, so I was like, yep, I'm going to hold a new standard to the podcast. And because I was convinced that I had to now do the podcast with video and beautiful audio with my brand new, expensive microphone and all this stuff, I was letting that perfectionism of the highest possible way to do it get in the way of just freaking doing it, right? And so here I am, 5 weeks later, getting another episode out to you, but I'm letting you know that it has snuck up on me too. And it can sneak up because if you're a high achiever, you probably got there because you do go above and beyond. You do more than what most people are capable of. You push yourself to hold a higher standard to yourself. So you probably have, a really high sort of expectation for yourself and others. Now, that can block your success as well as accelerate it. Perfectionism is a block. And a lot of people go, well, I'm a perfectionist. I like talking about that, and my clients like that in me, or the people I work with like that in me. Yes and no. So perfectionism there's a difference between high achieving or pushing hard and perfectionism. So the example that I remember, I did a psychology course specifically on treating perfectionism as therapists. And one of the examples one of the professors gave is of this lawyer who was such a perfectionist that a report that usually would take 3 or 4 hours for other lawyers to write up would take this lawyer 20 hours because they kept revising and going back and forth and editing this and editing that. And yes, was it better than everyone else's? Yes. But was that time used effectively? No. They didn't get enough done because they were too busy focusing on one thing. And so it's kind of asking yourself, is it really going to pay off the amount of work I'm putting into this one thing? Right? So perfectionism is having such a ridiculously high standard that you end up blocking yourself and procrastinating on other things, other action taking things. And this is where it's really important to reflect to yourself. Am I actually taking action, or am I just moving things around? Because I don't know if you've ever watched somebody tidy or clean. There's a difference between actually cleaning and just moving the same mess around. Do you know what I mean? Like, someone might have some items in front of them and they're actually tidying them and putting them away, whereas another person will just move one mess to another corner and then to another corner and not really address the mess, but in their mind they're doing something because they're moving. This is the same. And so how this shows up for you will be, for example, I have clients who they had to put a sales page together and they procrastinated on it for ages, right? But when I sat down with them, so this is one of my mentees, I literally talked to them through Voxer. We sent a few voice messages. I told them what ChatGPT prompt to use inside ChatGPT just to get them started, told them what photos to use. Bada bing, bada boom. This sales page was done in about 15 to 30 minutes. 15 minutes of writing and 30 minutes because they just wanted to edit the photos and things. And I just said, look, use these tools. Like, we live in a time where you can use AI tools to get you 70 to 80% there and you take it over the line. We've got virtual assistants now who can help you with so many tasks for like minimal pay. You know, it can cost so cheap. And then you get it over the line because you've got to actually do the action making moves. Yeah. Not moving and like we talked about, like you can move stuff around and not actually get anywhere. I'm talking about, are you actually taking actions that are moving you forward? And here's the other thing about perfectionism, which we've talked about before, is it's learning how to be okay with cutting corners. So again, in the training that I did a couple of years ago on perfectionism, and therapists were talking about the strategies. One of them is teaching our clients how to cut a corner. And some of the exercises I've actually given my own clients is not proofreading an email or sending an email intentionally with a spelling error in it. Now, if you're laughing at that, some people go, oh, that's such a small, minute thing. But if you're not laughing at that and you get it, for some of us, that's like a big thing. But I had clients who were rereading emails 3 or 4 times before they sent it, rather than just getting that stuff out. So their emails were taking 3 or 4 times the amount of time, wasting time they could be focused on doing other more important things because of this perfectionism. And perfectionism, if you think about it, right? I don't want to send a spelling error because I don't want to be perceived as incompetent, unintelligent, not good enough, Perfectionism is about I'm trying to control how people perceive me. I'm trying to show a certain thing. So when perfectionism is coming up for you, and it could be in any area, same thing again, cleaning. Cleaning is a really big one where you could do a basic clean of your kitchen and your house in an hour, or you could spend 8 hours. And you've got and 8 hours where you could have been focused on your kids, playing with your kids, going, spending some good quality time with your partner, all of those things, but you're so caught up in the cleaning and having a perfect house. Now, why is that? What's coming up? Is it that I want to be perceived as clean, tidy, this and that? Is it that I need to feel in control of something right now because my anxiety is making me feel like I'm out of control? Again, perfectionism and then leading into OCD tendencies is a control mechanism. I am trying to control people's perceptions. I am trying to control my environment. Control. And in reality, we cannot control everything. It's giving us a false sense of control. Yeah. So again, how to overcome this is to start to cut corners and sit with the discomfort of cutting a corner. So again, coming back to that analogy where I'm getting my clients to send an email with a typo in it, here as I drink my coffee. Again, I'm not being perfectionistic about doing this podcast perfect. I can do it on my couch, drinking a coffee. If you're getting the message, that's what matters. That is the whole point of this podcast, is to give you stuff that's going to help you. Could I be perfectionistic about it and go, Sheena, do it then and do this and do this? Absolutely. But I'm not going to. I'm just going to move forward and take action. So with the client who has to send an email with the typo in it, we work on, you're going to feel uncomfortable doing this. It is initially going to increase your anxiety. But once you've done this once, then 3 times, then 5 times, it's going to make you realize it's not a big deal at all. Because the first time is the worst. The first time she does that, her anxiety might be 8 out of 10. Next time, 7 out of 10. Next time, 6. It's like your nervous system normalizes, we did that. We didn't die. Nothing happened. Because your brain and your nervous system is scanning for danger. We used to scan for tigers and predators. Now we scan for risks in our environment, which to us might be sending an email with errors in it. Okay? Because again, our pack mind, our mind that was meant to live in tribes, is always trying to fit in with the tribe. So any perceived threat to fitting in feels dangerous. So this is why it's so important, is teaching this person it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to fail. Other people aren't going to change anything. It doesn't change anything. It's just exposure therapy. It is teaching you that it's going to be okay. Teaching your nervous system and your brain, this feels uncomfortable, but over time, it's okay. And this is just the first step. Making a small mistake like a spelling error in an email or missing a letter or something like that translates to so many other areas in their life. So it's going, it's okay. I don't have this one ingredient for this dish or this salad, but it's still great. Or, I got most of the kitchen done, but I can do X later. It's letting yourself be okay with that and doing the most important actions so that you can focus on what's important. Taking care of yourself, taking care of your loved ones, having time for the things that are important, right? This is how we get our time back, by being more efficient, by being less perfectionistic. I'm going to share with you one more thing about this, right? Is that my own business mentor, who's ahead of me, she's making millions of dollars per year from one business, which is incredible. Younger than me, no qualifications, living her best life, going from Thailand to Costa Rica to Europe to Dubai, you name it, right? She didn't post on her podcasts consistently. Her microphone isn't consistent. Sometimes she rocks up with makeup, sometimes she doesn't. And yet she's still making millions and millions of dollars because her message and her actions are potent. She focuses on the potent actions, the things that get the needle moving, the things that are the most important, right? And doesn't fluff around, doesn't double handle things, So that's the same thing with the emails. It's like, don't double handle, just get it done. Again, eat the frog. Just do the hardest action first and keep going. And this is all why business, career, professional development is all personal development. You grow from showing up during the discomfort. So know that it's going to be uncomfortable and show up anyway. And then the more you show up for yourself, the less discomfort you will feel. The anxiety goes down. And then eventually you won't be stressed about forgetting a link in an email or the spelling mistake or the little mistakes, because you go, I fixed this before, I can fix it again. I've done this before, I can do this again. This doesn't make a difference. I can take action. Taking 100 actions with a bit of mistakes in them is better than taking 5 actions that are done perfectly. Which one's going to get you more results? 100 actions that aren't done perfectly with a bit of corner cutting, or 5 actions done perfectly? Done is better than perfect. So I challenge you today, beautiful listeners, what is something that you're overthinking, that you're being perfectionistic about? Is it the sales page on your website? Is it posting to Instagram? Is it posting on LinkedIn? Is it, doing your makeup in the morning? Is it showing up and networking? What are you overthinking and what are you just not doing? Or you're holding back on, or you go, I know I've been procrastinating on this thing because of perfectionism. Again, a lot of times we think procrastination is from laziness, which is so wrong. It can be an avoidance tactic, but it is also just, I don't want to sit with the discomfort of perfectionism, the anxiety that comes from trying to do everything perfect. So think about something that you know that you probably have perfectionistic tendencies around, and challenge yourself to move faster, take action, cut a corner, live with the discomfort, and then see how it works and what happens. And of course, if you're a mentee of mine, I will support you through that. You'll talk it out with me. Oh, Sheena, I feel uncomfortable. Okay, let's sit with this. I can offer you affirmations. We can do breathing techniques. We can do lots of things together. So again, if you want to join our world, our Tranquil Trailblazer membership's only $99. I mean, tell me another place where you can work with a therapist like myself who's worked with, CEOs globally, business owners, athletes, women in media, you name it, for $99. like that's not happening. So you can join our Tranquil Trailblazer membership for $99 and get all the exercises that I use with a lot of those women, but also our Business Without Burnout and our 20-hour Business Week Academy. You get direct access with me, and I'm going to help you become the person who achieves everything that you want, both with the mindset and the strategy, right? So I love you. Thank you for showing up for yourself and listening to this podcast and working on your personal development and getting out there and being patient with me and my own perfectionism that got in the way. Little hurdles got in the way. My wanting to do this perfectly because I've got all the equipment now, all the gear with no idea, right? So you can do this. You can challenge yourself. Come back to me. Send me a message on Instagram. I want to hear what you challenged yourself with this week. And I will see you in the next episode of the 4Q podcast. Bye for now.